Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
We are on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in this industry talking about subjects that are trending in the restaurant business. Tweet your own questions on the topic while we are on the air to our Twitter handle, that's Sell Restaurants, or post them on our Facebook page, facebook.com/We Sell Restaurants. If we don't get to your question, we'll definitely follow up on our social media channels.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas for our show, if you have any comments, you can email me. My email is Eric, E-R-I-C, at WeSellRestaurants.com.
Today, we are talking about the brain of the restaurant business. That's right, I'm talking POS systems. What are the latest advances and opportunities for restaurant owners to take advantage of? Should you be tablet or iPad based? Why or why not? How are new changes to credit card standards in the United States affecting all restaurant operators, and what must they do to get ready? Our experts today focus on everything related to the POS system.
We have a couple of great guests with us today. First, we are joined by Paul Roberts, who designed and created the next-gen Dine mobile point-of-sale system. Born and raised in Las Vegas, Paul Roberts has always had a passion for computers and technology. Roberts graduated from high school in 2002 and completed a degree in business administration from the College of Southern Nevada. Soon after, Roberts then achieved his Bachelor's of Arts in Computer Science from University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and pursued a Master in Computer Science from University of Illinois in Springfield. After graduating, he worked setting up an international production tagging system for a printing company in China. He worked at Allegiant Airlines during their PCI compliance effort and was a contractor at JT3, working with large-scale databases and real-time system for the Department of Defense. NextGen Dine is a cloud-based mobile restaurant point-of-sale software designed for the iPad. Restaurant owners can now capitalize on the benefit of a full-featured POS system for a fraction of the cost of a traditional POS. Due to the mobility offered by the software, employees can take orders directly at the table, take credit cards at the customer side, and drastically improve restaurant operating efficiency. Orders placed are sent directly to the appropriate prep station, therefore decreasing order turnaround time. NextGen Dine also offers restaurant customer loyalty programs, gift cards, social media integration, and many other fine-grained marketing tools. Paul, it's a pleasure to have you on today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Great, and we are also joined by Sastry Penumarthy. Sastry is the Vice President of Marketing and Development and co-founder of Punchh. Sastry defines and executes a marketing strategy and partner strategy, and prior to co-founding Punchh in 2010, he held leadership roles in product development and marketing at large and emerging technology companies, including Siebel, BEA, InsideView, and Foxboro. He co-founded and led business development for two companies and has also worked with local businesses. Sastry earned a master's degree in engineering from the University of California, Santa Barbara, and an MBA from the University of Chicago. Punchh is a mobile CRM site, that's customer relationship management suite, for restaurants. It includes branded mobile apps for consumer engagement, big data customer analytics, and integration with POS, social media, and other third-party systems. Headquartered in Sunnyvale, California, Punchh's patent-pending technology operates in more than 1,400 restaurant locations under such brands as Arioli's Pizza, Hungry Howie's, Rita's Italian Ice, and more. Sastry, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, well, we are very excited to have both of you today because, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the brain of the restaurant today really is the POS system. So we want to get both of you to weigh in on the first question. And actually, Sastry, we'll begin with you. Technology has come a very long way from those early days of using a POS system really as a simple cash register. So what are some of the ways that restaurants can use technology to make the most of their POS systems?
Thank you so much. So what I would like to do is to give you a little bit of context on how we think about the problem at Punchh. So fundamentally, POS has seen several generations of evolution since its first start in the 70s. And POS is an extremely valuable and at the heart of the relationship between the customer and the restaurant. However, while they have been a very repository of very valuable information, about what customers are purchasing, what they're ordering, and then, of course, also back office related information to run the restaurant. One of the things that they've been missing is a lot of this information needs to be unlocked so that we can translate this data into improving the relationship between the restaurant and the customer so that the customers keep coming back and spend more and bring their friends. So that is what we think is essentially at the core of what we're seeing today.
Wow. How about you, Paul? What do you see from, we'll go a long way from the simple cash register with X, Y, and Z on it to today's. What are your point of view on that?
Well, my point of view is, Sanjay said it pretty well, and it is just basically the point of sale system can improve the customer experience, and if it's not good, it can also ruin the customer experience. So, very, very important to make it very easy to use for the servers and very easy to use for the management to pull the data, pull the analytics, and really, really make use of that data that's in there.
Paul, I want to follow up a little bit because I know that you actually have a mobile POS platform, and I've actually seen mobile POS be categorized as disruptive technology by traditional POS development companies. So tell me a little bit about what does that mean and how has mobile POS changed the dynamics of the market?
Well, I believe that mobile point of sale has increased the size of the point of sale market just in general, and that is basically because now we're using consumer-based hardware. It's not, proprietary Micros hardware or, XYZ point of sale company hardware. It's right off the shelf. People can go buy the iPad at Walmart or the Apple Store with no problem. And so basically it bridges that gap of price disparity between standard cash registers with minimal features like the Casio one you can go buy at Office Max and a point of sale system that's offered with even decent feature sets. Mobile point of sale has drastically reduced the cost of entry for small business owners wishing to utilize a full-featured point of sale system. And in this way, I believe mobile point of sale has increased the potential customer base of the point of sale market. And then that being said, mobile point of sale being cloud-based allows you to offer a much larger feature set for a fraction of the cost. You don't, the restaurant owner doesn't need to have a back office server. They basically just need a decent internet connection and off-the-shelf hardware, and they can have, every single feature that they would expect from a $10,000 terminal point of sale system.
And Paul, I got a follow-up question for you on that. You just mentioned something that this is like, you can buy it at Walmart, you can buy it at Office Depot. Does that also mean that this is more of an open source platform that, I know when you talk about the Micros and the Helloas of the world, you have to use their technology, their software. Does that mean that third party will be able to have some sort of add-on applications or something that will be able to add it to this system now versus the traditional ones?
Well, that's one of the goals in my design of the software is to make it very easy to integrate with third-party systems. So the customer can stay with their merchant processor, for example. They don't have to switch to a certain processing platform to use credit cards with my system. And also third-party loyalty programs, third-party gift card programs, etc. So that was a major goal in the design of the product.
And Sastry, to follow up on that, let's talk a little bit because this transactional data from the POS system, for years it's just been these are the sales, but there's actually a lot of actionable information in there that a restaurant owner can mine to use and keep customers coming back. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we can kind of, what I want to make sure is we understand it at a very simple level, right? So the difference is that the way POS looks at the data set, it'll tell you if you're a burger joint, for example, it'll tell you that how many burgers you've sold for a given day over the last week, or how many, if you're another kind of restaurant, then it'll tell you how much revenues you have for a given day of the week or a particular location and so on. But I think when we're talking about unlocking this information and adding value to it, what we're really doing is to help restaurants translate that data into understanding the customers behind those transactions. So it's one thing to understand that I have sold, 100 burgers in the last hour. It's another thing to understand, hey, Samantha is one of my best customers at this store. She has visited in the last month 4 times. And each time, this is what she has spent. And then, by the way, she loves the garden burger. So that's what we mean by unlocking the information within a point of sale. And that sort of changes the game in terms of really looking at your customers as people instead of records.
I think that's very, very well said. And then from a marketing perspective, to reach her with an offer, you know that if you went out to her and said the garden burger plus this, if you come in this weekend, that's going to key into what she loves about your restaurant and heavily increase the odds of success that your offer is going to draw her back into the store, correct?
That's exactly right. It's about to, first of all, understand, what does Samantha like? Does Samantha, she's typically ordered the garden burger, hey, we have a new, maybe she might even like a salad because she likes to healthy food. So I have the opportunity to either offer her a burger on days that she's typically not coming, or I have an opportunity to then say, hey, next time you come in, along with your burger, if you add a side order of salad, you could get, it at a slightly discounted price. So it's really about translating the information into personalized offers based on what you know about the customer.
That's good information. Paul, I want to change direction a little bit. And, when we, as restaurant workers, we deal a lot with POS system and see what they are. And people always sort of complain about the cost. We're not seeing people having any sort of, added value. It's, I got to have a POS system. It's so much per terminal, and it's just an expense, and, it's a necessary evil. But can you give me some example of cost savings that business owner can realize by using a mobile POS system, for instance?
Well, there are two major factors that contribute to the savings business owners can realize by using mobile point of sale. The first is the fact that these systems are running on consumer hardware, which I said earlier, and that hardware is available all over the place. It's commodity, basically. In contrast, a traditional point of sale system uses proprietary and much more expensive hardware. And it's not better hardware, it's not anything major, it's actually usually older hardware, but like I said, it's proprietary, it's vendor specific, and you're just stuck with it, with whoever you go with. The second factor is the medium in which the software is available to the business owner. Mobile point of sale software is offered in the cloud or software as a service model. This trickles down additional savings to the business owner because they are not required to purchase an expensive on-site server, and that cuts a huge cost right there. Also, IT infrastructure just related to the system is much, much less than a traditional system. There's less wiring to do. Basically all you really need is a off-the-shelf router, a decent router, and a reliable internet connection, and that's it. Also, software updates, just by using the software as a service model, are instantly available. So, they're not buying a yearly update pack for, thousands of dollars every year to update their system. It's available on the fly as they become available.
We actually have been joined by our third guest this morning, and that's Paul Roberts. Just to give everybody on listening a bit of background on Paul, he designed and created next-gen I'm sorry. Our new guest, I apologize, is actually Jared Isaacman. And Jared is joining us a little bit later today, but he's got a company that he started in the basement of his family's house when he was only 16 years old. And with the help of his father and business partner, as well as his first employee, built the company into an industry leader that it is today. Jared has been named one of America's best entrepreneurs by Business Week magazine and 30 Entrepreneurs Under 30 by Inc. magazine. He's also been named a finalist for the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award for 2006, 2007, and 2008, and was the youngest person ever named to the list of industry leaders by the credit card industry's leading publication, The Green Sheet. So, Jared, we're so glad to have you join us this morning. We'd love to have you weigh in on the topic of how the POS system, from your perspective, and that technology is really influencing how restaurants are doing business today. You want to jump in?
Sure, and first, just to apologize for the confusion on getting on late. This is a show that I really wanted to participate in, so sorry for the delay on that. the question about point of sale systems in the restaurant environment and what's changing, really I would think it's a little bit of the technology, but mostly a lot of the economics. I don't know how if everybody else agrees with me necessarily on this point, but I don't think there's too many restaurants in any aspect of the industry, whether it's a cafe, a quick service, or fine dining. I don't think there's too many restaurants in this country that you could walk into, not see any POS technology at all, and then ask the owner or the manager, why don't you have a POS system? And they say, what is that? I think the awareness is completely there. I think the restaurant industry, restaurant owners, managers on any scale recognize the value that POS has for their business. I mean, table turn, operational efficiency. A restaurant is simply going to run better and more effectively with the POS system. So I don't think that there's any issue with awareness. Everybody gets it. To me, the only barrier for them to get into the POS industry or POS product lines has been entirely economic, and that's what's changing now. Certainly, tablet solutions, cloud-based systems are, lower cost or subscription-based software as a service. So that helps them get into that world, much more cost-effectively. So that's a factor. And then just even legacy POS systems, our solution at Harbor Touch, the Elite, is one example. But I think the industry is seeing it as a whole that even legacy, not tablet-based but full-featured POS systems are turning into subscription-based models. So the only barrier for restaurants and the hospitality industry to make that big leap to POS, not being an awareness but economics, is starting to come down quick.
Good. That's a great summary, and I appreciate that. And again, thanks for participating today. I want to ask Sastry maybe to weigh in first on this, but we talk about POS and we talk about how much more it can do now than just ringing the registers and see how many burgers you've sold. But we have gift cards, we have social media promotions, we have direct on receipt promotions, different kind of valuation. I'd like to talk about it's almost overwhelming for a restaurant owner to try to utilize all this. So tell me how. What direction are we going with all this? Because there's more and more to do, and the restaurant's owner only have so many hours in the day. So tell me a little bit how some of the interaction of the technology will help them maybe be facilitating that, because they're feeling overwhelmed about this.
Sastry, are you going to weigh in for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So the one thing about offers and so on that you are just brought up, it's a very important thing, right? There is in the past, it used to be when you had to offer a coupon, there used to be printing costs and maybe a creative and a whole bunch of production behind it. So you wouldn't offer these as often as possible. What technology has done, just like it has done for many other things, has reduced the costs of delivering these kinds of offers. But what that does to the consumer is that they're often overwhelmed. So the challenge for restaurant operators is not so much offering more coupons, but to really say, how can I figure out what are the most relevant offers to each of my customers, and how do I offer these just at the right time? For example, if they don't visit a specific location of yours, typically for lunch, then it may not be a very relevant thing to do. On the other hand, if they're within a few hundred feet of your restaurant, that may be a good time for you to say, hey, we have a new happy hour special. Come on in. So I think that's what technology, today can help restaurants provide, which is timely and personalized offers.
And Jared, we've been talking about a little bit here about some of the nice to have, some of the add-on features and bells, and being able to reach your customers in new ways in social media. But there are some new credit card standards that are a must-have that are going to have a major effect on the industry starting in 2015. So what does that new credit card environment look like for the industry, and when will restaurants be making the shift? Jared?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't hear who you wanted to answer that one. That's an excellent question, because the EMV rollout, which you're referring to, the chip and PIN, it's had a rocky history in the United States, to say the least. Certainly, if we all, as consumers, travel outside the United States, as close as Canada, but definitely in Europe and in Asia, chip and PIN, which is, essentially the EMV standard, is a standard. I mean, that's where you see it everywhere. But the United States has bucked that trend for a very long time. Now, Visa and MasterCard seem very committed to this. There are times and deadlines that are expected to be met. I think as consumers, we're all seeing, as our credit cards expire, the new ones that come in the mail have the EMV chip on it. But that doesn't mean we're all ready. I mean, I have a number of EMV cards in my wallet. I don't know the PIN numbers on any of them. And without that PIN number, you can't complete an EMV transaction. So that's an important element for the consumers, not to mention a lot of the transaction processing networks are not ready yet. So here we are, getting within a year of the deadline. The consumers don't know how to use it yet. The transaction processing networks aren't 100% up to speed yet. But the most important one, and especially for the hospitality industry, is as consumers, are we ready to change our behavior to do pay at the table? I mean, that's how it works everywhere else in the world. If you go into a nice restaurant, when it's time for your check, they bring over the handheld credit card terminal, you enter your EMV card, put the PIN number in, add the tip if applicable, and then you leave, right? Well, right. That might be the standard internationally, but we've resisted that heavily in the U.S. It is a behavioral change for us. I mean, is that what we want when we're out to dinner? And chip and PIN will not succeed, and EMV will not succeed in the U.S. if pay at the table does not become a standard. So there's still a lot of mountains left to climb. I mean, this is hardly just waiting for the clock to tick down to zero and say, okay, we're all EMV ready. So what I would tell or recommend, at least for the small and mid-sized restaurant owners, is I wouldn't rush out yet and invest a bunch of their money in equipment that's not even ready yet, for consumers that aren't even ready yet. I would just keep an eye on it and see. And, if the big national chains start making moves, when you go out as a consumer on a Friday night and, they're pushing you to pay your tab at the table, if we start seeing that as a regular part of our lives, then I think the small and mid-sized business owners should start looking at some of the EMV and pay-at-the-table solutions. But I would think
Jared,
that's premature.
Jared, let me cut you off right there because we're actually up against a hard break. You're on the air with Eric and Robin Gagnon. We're with We Sell Restaurants, the industry leader in restaurants for sale, franchise restaurant resales, and site location for the food service industry. We are franchising nationwide and have offices in Florida, Colorado, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after the break.